Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel where today we are looking at another unpopular Harry Potter opinion that I hold. This will be the last one for this part of the series. I may do this again in August for the second part of the magical readathon, but I haven't yet decided. But for now, it is the last one that I will be doing. And today we are looking at the opinion that I have that Dumbledore was a terrible headmaster. Oh, let's get into it. So my thing about headmasters is it's kind of like it's similar-esque to a principal. And I feel like with a headmaster, there are two main things that are their jobs. Ensure the safety of the students and ensure that the students have uh, the equipment and resources necessary to be able to learn. And I think he failed on both parts. So let's talk about safety first. So Dumbledore is like the worst when it comes to safety. He is just like, so even looking at book one, obviously we know that somebody is going after the Philosopher's Stone, and like Dumbledore brings it to Hogwarts. And I'm already sitting here going, are you kidding me? You could have brought it anywhere and or taken it anywhere. Like, okay, yeah, no safer place than Hogwarts, but that means that you're literally putting kids in the line of fire. If somebody decides to go after it, they're gonna have to get through the kids. And like, really? Like, I know he's and even just putting protections on the Philosopher's Stone meant that he had to warn kids away from the third corridor. And we see that like the lock on the door was Hermione was able to get through it. So it wasn't exactly well protected. And yeah, like, okay, stay away from the third corridor, but are you kidding me? Like, what? And so he's already putting like the entire school is in danger at that point. Or even like looking at the Triwizard Tournament. I understand what he was probably trying to do. He was probably trying to promote unity between the different major magical schools and everything. But at the same time, the Triwizard Tournament is so dangerous that they limited it to people who are 17 and older, like, or 16 and older. They put an age restriction on it. And at that point, it's like it has become increasingly clear that people are out to get Harry. So why would he ever think that it was a good idea? Like, you know what I mean? He put an age line on around the Goblet of Fire, but clearly it didn't work. And also, like with somebody gunning for Harry for the last 3 years, it just doesn't seem like a good idea. I wish he could have found a different way. So again, putting people at risk. I mean, and it just keeps going. Like there's a lot of little things that he does, and it's just very clear he does not actually put the safety of his students first, which I like. That means that he's very good as an operative or head of the Order of the Phoenix, but it makes him a really bad headmaster. The safety of your students should be first in your brain. Like, and if it's not, then like you're not going to be a good headmaster. So that's number one. And number two is ensuring that the kids have everything that they need to be able to learn properly. And he sucks at this, honestly. Like, look at his track record of Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers. Like, you have Quirrell, who we presume was fine because Harry didn't really talk about Quirrell, the Defense Against the Dark Arts professor. But then Gilderoy Lockhart was awful. And yeah, like, for Harry the second year, it meant that he was missing some stuff, but nothing major. But could you imagine being a seventh year in Gilderoy Lockhart's class? Like, you're there presumably because you need to take the Newt's test. You are going to fail the Newt's test with Gilderoy as your professor. So, like, I understand what Dumbledore was trying to do. He was trying to prove Gilderoy out for a fake, but at the same time, like, could you do that without putting the kids' education like at risk? Because that sucks. And then, you know, Professor Lupin seemed to be fine. Mad-Eye Moody was secretly like an actual evil person in disguise. Like, it's just, he's terrible. And then we look again, even at Hagrid. So Hagrid clearly wants to be a good professor, but he needed a guiding hand on how to do that. And when his first lesson is a hippogriff, Dumbledore should have stepped in and been like, no, that's not a good place to start. And he didn't. And I don't, and it's like either Hagrid told him, I'm going to do hippogriffs, and Dumbledore's like, that sounds like a great idea. Or Dumbledore just didn't even think to ask, which would also be dumb because he knows Hagrid. Hagrid loves all these giant, like, incredibly dangerous creatures. And Dumbledore should have said, okay, like, what precautions are you taking? And not necessarily been an outright no, but like, what are you going to do to ensure that there aren't any injuries? So at least to put the thought in Hagrid's head. And then the whole thing with Snape should never have been allowed to teach at that school. He is disdainful towards anybody that is not a Slytherin, and he is outright abusive to Neville, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. So, like, there's no way that Dumbledore couldn't have known, but at the same time, he never stepped in and said, chill. He never stepped in and said, this is not okay. He just lets it go on for the entire, like, I don't care if you are the most amazing human being in the world. Otherwise, as soon as you start being that abusive to children, you're done. You're toast. You are a horrible human being. And for Dumbledore to not step in and say, this is not okay and I need you to change, is just awful. And the fact that that Snape is known for being this horrible person when Harry comes into Hogwarts as a first year says a lot about this too. It should have been stopped way before Harry ever got there. So clearly this is not the best place to learn either. So what exactly is Dumbledore good at Headmaster? Like, the only person who really truly defends him and says that he's the best Headmaster is Hagrid. And I love Hagrid, but Hagrid is not objective. He is so loyal that his loyalty often interferes with his ability to be objective. So, like, I don't really trust him and his opinion on that particular front. But, like, my thoughts are generally just that I don't think at this point that Dumbledore's primary focus was on being a good headmaster. His primary focus was on Voldemort, getting rid of Voldemort, getting rid of the evil support, the Death Eaters and everything, and ensuring that we don't end up exactly where we ended up with a second war with Voldemort. But because he is trying to fight that evil, he can't always put the safety of his students first. So he makes a really bad headmaster. I feel like he used his headmaster stuff as his cover, but he really wasn't a good one. And honestly, if I had been a parent with my kid at Hogwarts, I think I probably would have been in his office and demanding to know what is going on. Please do better. So there you go, you guys. That is my opinion that Dumbledore is just not a good headmaster. Please let me know down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Most of the time when I hear people talk about Dumbledore, they talk about how he's such a great character. And I agree, he's a great character. Terrible headmaster, though. So I'm very curious to see what everybody else thinks. But that is all I have. So until next time, have happy reading, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.